And good morning. Are we ready for section 18.3? Now, yesterday was a very long lesson, and I apologize, but cubic measurements are a little bit harder to get to grasp, so I just wanted to make sure you grasped it. You probably hear my rooster out there. That darn thing, I don't know what his problem is. Well, yes, I do know. It's early morning, and he's letting me know. Anyway, all right, so we're on page 356 for 18.3. This is actually a short lesson, and really and truthfully, I probably didn't even have to do a video, but I wanted to just to be sure you understood this. Okay, so this is going to be cubic unit conversion, where we convert from one unit to another. So cubic unit conversion works much the same way as regular or squared unit conversion. Any of the methods we've looked at will work if we know the conversion ratio between the cubed units. For example, take a look at this picture of 1 cubic foot. Notice that it actually contains 1,728 cubed inches. Because if you look up one side, that's 12 inches or 1 foot. The other side is 1 foot or 12 inches. And the other is 12 inches or 1 foot. So the base, or the volume of this would be 12 inches times 12 inches times 12 inches, which is 1,728 cubic inches, or 1 cubic foot. Knowing this, so that's a ratio that you're going to need to know. 1 cubic foot is 1,728 cubic inches. Knowing this, we can easily convert feet to inches or inches to feet. For example, the volume of this prism is 4 feet times 5 feet times 3 feet, which equals 60 cubic feet. How many cubic inches does it represent? Look at the top of 357. Now here's our 3 conversion methods. The middle one is the one that we've pretty well chosen to do. To me, it's the easier one. May not be for you. Now the mental math, sometimes you can do those when it's real simple little numbers, but 60 times 1,728, I'm not so sure that would be real easy. You can also do the conversion using a proportion. That's going to take a little bit more work, I think. So the middle one is the best way. So we've got 60 cubic feet. That's what we started with. Remember, we want inches. We want cubic inches. So that goes on top. So knowing our ratio, 1,728 cubic inches over 1 square foot. Cubed foot, excuse me. Okay? So remember, what the unit we want is the one that goes on top. Okay? So then you're going to mark out cubic feet on both the top, on the 60 and then on the 1. So then we're only left with cubic inches, and then we multiply 60 times 1,728, and that's where we get the 103,680 cubic inches. All right, now conversion with regular conversion ratios. This is the next section. Now, is there a way to convert cubic feet to inches knowing only that 12 inches equals 1 foot? Yes, there is. Remember, cubic feet is another way of writing feet times feet times feet. Thus, if we just multiply by 12 inches over 1 foot 3 times, we'll successfully convert our units, as all the feet will cancel out. Notice they took 60, because remember it was 60 cubic feet, so that's feet times feet times feet. So they took 60 feet times feet times feet, times, remember we wanted inches, so they put the conversion ratio 12 inches over feet, times 12 inches over feet, 1 foot, times 12 inches over 1 foot. And then they crossed out everything that was the same. They were left with inches times inches times inches. So they multiplied 60 times 12 times 12 times 12, and that's where they got the 103,680. Okay, that's letting you know, just in case you didn't know the ratio, 1,728 cubic inches over 1 cubic foot. So it's just letting you know that you can use just your regular ratios. You don't have to know all those numbers, this into that and all that. You don't have to know those. You can do it this way just as long as you do it 3 times. So in the process of canceling out the 3 feet, notice that we ended up with 3 multiplications of inches. Anyway, that I've already walked you through that. Look at the gray box with the arrow beside it. The basic principle of unit conversion is to multiply by a conversion ratio or ratios as many times as needed. When dealing with squared or cubed units, keep in mind what an exponent means. Then it'll be easy to figure out how many times to multiply to properly convert the unit. Look at the example at the bottom of the page. Pardon me. So convert 2 square feet to square inches. So they put 2, this is the 2 ways to do it. So 2 square feet times 12 inches over 1 foot times 12 inches over 1 foot. And they did all the cancelization. Okay. All right. Or you can do it the other way. You can write feet times feet, but it's easier just square feet or cubic feet. The other example is the same example, except they've used cubic inches. So, or cubic feet to cubic inches. And there they go. You can write it just 2 cubic feet or 2 feet times feet times feet. Either way, both of those are going to give you the same answer. Just one's a little bit longer. And 2, it's good to know just in case you don't know the ratio between, something. Now, inches and feet, that's easy. But there may be something else, that comes up that you're not real familiar with. So, anyway, okay. So what you're going to do today is you're going to do worksheet 18.3, which is a fairly easy, short worksheet. I don't think I'm going to grade this page though. We're getting, into the harder things, so I don't want to grade things unless I know for absolutely 100% sure you know it. So let's look at 18.3. Let's look at 1A, just to make sure you know. I wish that rooster would be quiet. He's really making me mad. All right, so we're going to convert 18,000 cubic inches to cubic yards. Okay, so we do not have, okay. Let me get my ratio doohickey thingamajigger out here. Okay, so we're going to convert 18,000. I know it's morning. Cubic inches. And we want yards. We want cubic yards. Now, I don't know the ratio between cubic inches and cubic yards, but I know the ratio between yards and inches. So, since we want yards, we're going to get yards on top. Okay, so 1 yard is the same as how many inches? 36. And since I don't know the ratio between these, we're going to have to multiply it 3 times. Because remember, we need cubic. Okay. Now, what we do, that's how we should set that up. Because like I said, we don't know the exact ratio between cubic inches and cubic. Like they showed us in our workbook, they showed us the ratio between cubic inches and cubic feet. We are not given the ratio between these. We could figure it out, but it would take us a while. So it's might as well just write it this way. Do you understand why we did it 3 times? Now, if we knew the ratio between cubic yards and cubic inches, we would have just written 1 ratio here, but we don't. So that's why we did it 3 times. Also, if we were doing square inches, we would do it only 2 times. But since we need 3, we're doing it 3 times. All right, so now what we do is we're going to cross out everything that's the same. Cross out all the inches because those are all the same. All right, so what we're going to do is you're going to take 18,000 times 1 times 1 times 1. Okay, now you can use a calculator on this, so let me pull mine up. Oh, my computer is so, I don't want a later, I want a calculator right there. All right, so let's do 18,000 times 1 times 1 times 1. That is not my answer. That's not the answer they gave me in the book. For some reason, I'm not quite sure is the answer they gave me in the book. Because I knew that would be it, 18,000. Oh, duh. It's because of the 36. We multiply, let's see, is it that? Oh, I forget this every time. It's 18,000 divided by. Yeah, because it's over. Because see, we marked out the ones on the bottom. That's what we get. And then we have to round. The 5 rounds that, so it would be 0.39 cubed yards. I forget that. So that's a good thing for me to remind you of too. I forgot that. Whenever you mark out the ones on the bottom, if you'll remember, we divide because it's 18, because remember this is actually over 1. Remember that? So we don't write it that way. We just know that that's what it is. So when you mark out these on the bottom, you're multiplying this or dividing this number by this one, however many times you have it. Okay. I hope that makes sense. I'm glad I had my teacher book close by because I would have forgotten that. Okay, so that's what you're going to do on the rest of those. And then on number 2, there's a miscellaneous problem. How much belting would it require to go around these 2 pulleys? Assume the belting is going around half of each of the circles. Okay, so it's going around half the circle. So if the diameter of one circle is 30 inches, what's the radius? Because half that's the radius would be 15. So it'd be 15 there, 15 on the other circle, and then the 18 across. So that would be you'd have to convert 18 feet. You'd have to convert that to inches, or you'd have to convert the inches to feet. And then I think you would just add those up. So you'd have to convert those. So let's just say we converted 30 inches to feet. It might be easier to convert 18 feet to inches. Anyway, you convert those, and then you would just add all those up, I believe, but you'd have to, no, that's not how you would do it. Let's see, I want to make sure we get this. 30 inches, I have to get my teacher book out for this one. This one's a little confusing to me. Okay, so on 2A, first thing, we do have to convert. So we're going to take 30 inches times, and we're going to convert, we want to make the inches into feet. So the ratio here would be 1, we want feet. So 1 foot would be 12 inches. Okay, so it would be, once you do the calculations, it would come out to be 2.5 feet, which you probably could have just figured that one in your head, but I just wanted to show you how to do it with the conversion. Now, that's the first thing you'd have to do is convert those to the same. The next thing is you'd have to add the circumference of the circle. So the belting I'm reading from the teacher book. The belting covers half the circle on each side for a total of the entire circumference to the length of the chain in between. So basically, you'd have to find the circumference of each of the circles, and it would be, the circumference of the circle would be, remember, it'd be pi times diameter, which is 2.5 feet, because remember, it's actually 30 inches, but we've changed it to feet, which is, remember, pi is 3.14 times, looks like 2, yeah, okay, well, let's see. Okay, and then when you calculate all of that with your calculator, I think you can use it, yeah, 7.85 feet. Okay, now it's just circumference, so you don't square or cube circumference. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take the circumference of the circle, and then you're going to add this would be your final equation. Let's walk through it. Let's see if we can figure this out. I'm not so sure I would have figured this one out. I was using my teacher book on this one. This was a little bit confusing to me. So we converted first, pardon me, the inches to the feet. So the diameter of each circle was 2.5 feet. And then the distance between the two circles was 18 feet. So everything's the same. So that's the first thing we did. Second thing we did is we had to find the circumference. Remember, that's the measurement of the outside of the circle. And that's pi times the diameter, which is 2.5 feet. Okay, the T goes there. All right, so this would be the circumference of the circle, and that's what it equals. All right, so then what you're going to do is so the circumference of the circle is 7.85 feet. Now there's two of those, and then you would multiply in the 18 feet. I believe that's how add the circumference of the circle, which would be the entire, let's see, the belting covers half the circle on each side. So that's a total of the entire circumference. Because if you have, a circle here and a circle here, and the belting goes around this way, it only covers half this circle and half this circle, which equals a whole circle, one whole circle. Pardon me. So the circumference of one whole circle is this. Okay, because remember, it's only half on each circle, but half of each circle is one whole circle. So the circumference of one whole circle, okay, plus 2 times 18, because this is 18 and this is 18 feet. And it goes all the way around. So you would do this and this plus this and this. And that's what you would get. Does that make sense now? I can see that now. It makes sense to me. So this and this is this. And then does that make sense? Okay, so I'm not going to get your final answer. You'll have to come up with that. But this would be your, this would be how you would work it. You might want to write that down and make sure you understand that, because it took me a good while to understand that. I really had to look over that. Okay. All right, so then you've got a little bit left on the back of the page. Not grading this today, so do your best. If you need any help on anything else, let me know, okay? Otherwise, just make sure you finish worksheet 18.3.